What is going on? I am Jason, and today I'm going to revisit a couple cemeteries that I've done videos on, and I got a special guest with me. I'll introduce her. All right, here we go. All right, her name is Laura. Quirky Driven Life, as it says on her hat. All right, so what's your channel about?
It's about everything. I do haunted places, historic places, food, traveling, sightseeing, a little bit of everything.
And where are you from?
I live in Oklahoma.
Awesome. Okay, so yes, her channel is, as she stated, a lot of different sites, but mostly in Oklahoma. But she does get around. This is part of her road trip, and she just had me passing through St. Louis. And of course, we've interacted many times outside of YouTube, and that's where we met. But yesterday was my first time meeting her in person, and she appreciates history as much as I do. So I thought I'd show her some cool stuff in the cemetery. You ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, we are at the Bush Mausoleum. August Bush is the co-founder of Anheuser-Busch, and it looks like somebody left behind an AB hat. On certain days, they do let people come in here. I don't remember I think it's sometime in the summertime they have like a brewer's tour. Like they go to the Lemp family and then they come here and maybe a couple other spots. But yeah, I still have yet to go in here sometime. And now we are at the final resting place of Kate Bennington Brewitt. She was a St. Louis socialite. She was notably a very pretty lady, but unfortunately beauty somewhat killed her because she drank an arsenic poison that it was a poison, but it made her, she felt that, made her skin darker, but she succumbed to it at age 37. But
I can blur that out, I guess.
okay, yeah, this is somebody that almost similarly has her name on there. I'll blur it out, but wow, it's really freaky.
No disrespect.
Exactly, yeah.
As I'm hanging on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, weird.
I don't know how many people with my name exist or have existed, but yeah, that's if I run into my own sometime. And here is one of the, I guess, newer burials here, famous burials here at Bellefontaine. This is Rush Hudson Limbaugh III. Like I said in one of my previous videos, I still don't know the whole St. Louis connection. I know he grew up and was raised in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. But I mean, maybe he's been here several times or once, and that was his dying wish or will to be put here. But he got his wish, and he rests peacefully here. Regardless of what your political views are, I mean, it's definitely something worth checking out. And what's really cool is, I mean, there's so many who's who here. This is Don Carlos Buell, who was a Union Army general in the Civil War. His tender care and noble virtues live in our hearts. His services to a country are identified with its history. I gotta get a front view of this. Cool looking. Yes. Okay, General Richard Barnes Mason. He was a colonel of the 1st Regiment of Dragoons, U.S. Army. He died at Jefferson Barracks. Okay, that's very interesting right there.
And that's that barracks you said I need to go see sometime?
Yeah, well, I think they were talking about what is now Fort Bellefontaine. Now, the last time I was here, this was not here. This is the Kit Bond Chestnut Grove. Kit Bond was a senator. This was dedicated to him on June 10, 2021. He served as a pioneer in restoring, reviving, and promoting the Chinese chestnut tree crop. Interesting. And now we are at the monument to William Clark, the Clark and Lewis and Clark. I told her this is one of the top priorities and all that. This one has a lot of historical signage on it. But here's a nice view, frontal view of the William Clark one. And these are his children. This is his oldest son. This one has a Civil War marker on it. And the wife of General Meriwether Lewis Clark. That was, well, the son's wife. And of course I gotta get a picture of this bust close up. You'll always be remembered, man. Thank you for doubling the thank you for help doubling the size of America. But yes, this was a guy named Herman Ludes, lived from 1871 to 1921. This was one of the ones I wanted to show her because it's got a interesting, sad backstory to it. But he was a drugstore owner from St. Louis. He actually owned the first drugstore in St. Louis. But during a trip to Italy in the early 1900s, he met a very good-looking model for an Italian sculptor. He fell in love with her and proposed. She declined. He was heartbroken, of course. I don't know how long they knew each other, but Ludes commissioned the sculptor to render a 12-foot marble statue of his beloved. And the statue was literally shipped here from Italy to here to St. Louis. And he kept it at the foyer of his Portland Place home. Now this, of course, weighed several tons, but it was moved. But because of its weight, it was moved here to his family burial plot. When the weather began to deteriorate the marble, he had to enclose her in a glass-fronted case. But yeah, this is known as the girl in the in the shadow box. I think I'm going to get up close to it. Yeah, the glass is a little cracked there too.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, everybody has a story.
You probably met her for like 10 minutes.
Probably.
I'm in love.
And now we are at the two most visited spots. That is the Lemp Mausoleum, and that right there is the Wainwright Tomb. I told her someone's a no miss. Yeah, it's even got benches and everything. Now okay, a little bit on Louis Wainwright. He designed one of the first skyscrapers in America, and it's right here in St. Louis. You can still visit it. The Wainwright building, as they call it. What I think is very interesting is it's a property of the National Register of Historic Places, but by itself, and it's part of, so it's pretty much twice.
Had to try.
Yeah, as tempting as it is. I just gotta feel these though. I mean, these are just.
I know, they're beautiful.
And she is definitely a paranormal enthusiast, and I mean, as a matter of fact, she's staying at the Lemp Mansion tonight in St. Louis, and so yeah, it's definitely fitting that she visits the grave, the mausoleum, all in one day and stays overnight.
Oh, it's too bad you can't go in.
I know. Like I said, they do have a beer barons tour when they do let people in here, but it's just, yeah, I can't even hardly see. Well, I can see the tiles, but
I can see kind of their names, like Patricia Lemp Wright, William J. Lemp, Julia Flicker, I think Fecker, maybe. I don't know. Lemp, and I think her room is the one I'm staying at tonight.
really, for those that don't know, the Lemp Mansion is one of the most haunted places, not just here in St. Louis, but in America. And she is brave enough to do it.
Or crazy, one or the other.
Yep, he was the governor of Missouri. He was also the mayor of St. Louis, and he was the United States ambassador to Russia, but it was during the time when they became the Soviet Union.
Wow.
And I mean, he was also best known for Francis Field, where they had the United States Olympic competition, and he organized the World's Fair here in 1904. These are all of his family members. Since it's next to the Lemps anyway, I was like, well, we're here. All right, now we're in Calvary Cemetery, which is just next to it, but this is the final resting place of the hero William Tecumseh Sherman. This is his son. I am kind of curious about this one. This one definitely looks very interesting. Mary B. Abbott. And now we are at the final resting place of Dred Scott. Hopefully you know the history of him. Now this monument was placed, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. When I was here 5 years ago, there was a big white stone, and it told a little bit of history about Scott, but one of his descendants helped raise money for this. There's a lot of coins here too. Okay, 2023, because it says the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation. A lot of powerful quotes. And of course, there's a lot of historical text on this one. Now, just a few steps away from there is this stone that got my attention, of course, because it has a lot of paragraphs in historical context. I have never heard of this gal before, but apparently she's a notable figure. Ellen Taggart McMahon. Now, the interesting thing is today is May 24th, 2026. June 2026 is not for another week, so I don't know.
They just said it, maybe?
I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a typo.
June 2025, maybe.
May June 2025, because June. I mean, and like I said, June 2026 has not happened yet. But either way, this is some really cool text. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, now I know about Ellen Taggart McMahon. And on the back of it is, I believe, it's her lineage. Family members of Ellen Taggart McMahon. So all the family members that are interred in this plot are italicized. Very interesting. And now we're at the resting place of Tennessee Williams. I've been here. I knew he was buried here, but I always keep forgetting to visit it. But now I get a chance to visit it. Tennessee Williams. The violets in the mountains have broken in the rocks. Camino Real. Okay, cool. Tennessee Williams, the Glass Menagerie, among his many other works.
This one says, blow out your candles, Laura.
Say, oh, hello.
What? What is going on in the cemetery?
Blow out your candles, Laura.
That's wild, though. Like, I mean, it's not bad. Somebody left some stones.
In a bag.
Yeah, they probably mean certain stuff. I don't really follow that stuff.
Me neither.
So, see, I'm not into all the hokey stuff. My daughter does. She'll be like, take this stone with you. I'm like, no.
Oh, this is his real name, Thomas Lanier Williams. Okay. I knew his real name wasn't Tennessee, but I was just like, well, I guess he just wants to go by his stage name. And of course, when you go to this cemetery, it's always a priority. You gotta go see the final resting place of the founder of St. Louis, Auguste Chouteau. It looks a lot cleaner than it did when last time I was here a few years ago. See, it says the founder of St. Louis right there. But yes, he founded the city when he was 14 years, I'm sorry, yeah, when he was 14 years old, along with his stepfather, Pierre Laclede. He was born in New Orleans, and he led the way to founding one of the most important cities in the United States. Some other interesting information I can include is Lewis and Clark once stayed at his house in now downtown St. Louis, which, well, the part that I'm talking about is where the Gateway Arch National Park sits now. That home is long gone, unfortunately. But at the time of his death, he was the largest landowner in the new city of St. Louis. That was 1829. Now, he wasn't always buried here. He was actually originally buried in downtown St. Louis, but his body was later, or eventually, placed here. Bet you didn't know that. So we're at the old priest slot in the back of the cemetery. Like Constantine Smith, founder and first pastor of St. Agnes Church. I mean, a lot of these are very interesting to read, and I mean, it tells so much about the history, like where they did it all.